Okay, guys. Shalom, everybody. Guys, I want to just tell you a brief story about my life and give you a real testimony here, as short as I can. Because what matters the most is, the, you know how they always say the two most important days of your life is when you were born and when you found out why. Okay, so, a little bit about me. I'm a Christmas baby. My name is Michael. My mother named me after the archangel. So I always had this, close connection to, just the Star of Bethlehem and, you know, the Star Sirius, and which, proclaimed the coming of a king. I'm not saying I'm a king. I'm not saying I'm just a son of God. That's all. So a little bit about me. So I was born Christmas Day. I'm 33 years old. The last 3 years of my life, they've certainly been a journey. But I'll share with you the last 3 Christmases I had because they're very important. So 3 years ago, Christmas morning, let's just say that I felt the presence of God. It was about 5:15 in the morning, and as simple as I could put it, as crazy as it sounds, coming through the brick wall, I was living down in my mother's basement. Coming through the brick wall, was Jesus. Came right through the wall into like my reality, so to speak. And the feeling I had was so scared. I could not move. I was frozen. Even the wood burner down in the basement, where I was at, the flame changed on it. It immediately turned to this very, very dark, dark, dark red. And I was frozen. And I was trembling, okay? And Jesus froze me, and he told me, Michael, he said, this was right around the time that David Wilkerson had given this speech about in 1 hour everything's going to change. And I remember listening to this when Jesus came into the wall, or came through the wall, and he told me, and I couldn't do nothing but sit there and listen to him. And he told me, he said, Michael, the age of grace is going to come to an end. But prepare yourself. You were one of my witnesses, he said. And at that time, my family wasn't, we weren't, my family, it's a tough situation. So the holidays are kind of tough because I lost my grandmother Christmas Eve, and my mother gets real emotional around the holidays, so it's tough. So we had a bad Christmas that year, but I seen God, and when I stepped outside after this had happened and settled over, this I remember it was purple and green. It was purple and green, and this light came over top of the trees, down, and like it was chasing me, and it just swept over me and boom, just went into me and just struck me. And I was so scared after this, on top of it, that I went inside and I locked the door. I was so scared. And I went downstairs, and I could feel Jesus' presence again at the door. I could just feel him at the door. And he said, I'll come back for you. This is what he told me. And I said, what about my dog? What about my dog, Ranger? I said, can dogs go to heaven too? And he said, yes. So that had happened. That had been Christmas of 2017. And, or no, I'm sorry, it might have been 2018. And this was right after the September 23rd sign, the once in every 7,000 year sign, which was, the sign written in the stars, about, the Virgin and, the Virgo and the moon at her feet, and, the 12 stars around her, and Jupiter was about to give birth. So that sign had happened, and the following Christmas that had happened. So the next Christmas, I was in prison. I had spent my time in prison, but back in October when I was in prison, in October before that Christmas of 2018, October 19th, this Tennessee Titan came in to speak at the prison. And I had been in cell 19 too, and on top of it, part of the vision that Jesus had given me that Christmas was that I'd be boarding at Gate 19. Gate 19. That's what he kept saying to me. Gate 19. You're boarding at Gate 19. So anyways, I was saved in prison by a former Tennessee Titan. I don't want to give his name out or anything, but he came to speak at the prison. Told us about heaven and hell, and he asked us if anybody want to be saved. And at that moment, I truly gave my life to the Lord, and I was 10:19. So so that happened, and I was in prison cell 19, and just the whole 19 thing was just something that God showed me. That's the number. That's the key number, 19. To me it was, so, anyways, when I had gotten arrested on September 23rd of 2018. So, I went, and guys, I had done something terribly wrong. I got in an argument with my mother, and I was totally wrong for it. And I ended up shoving my mother, pushing my mother. And I can't explain it, but I felt like the devil went into me, and he did it. Okay, because I never did anything like it to my mom, ever. And, it just wasn't right, so. So, anyways, I had court. She thought I was going crazy because I was talking about the end of the world and things like that, and Nibiru 2012 and the dragon and stuff like that, and this stuff is all documented, and they wouldn't let me out. They called me crazy because just the normal people, that doesn't sound right, and granted, I was wrong. but I couldn't figure out what had happened, why I did this to my mother, and how it had happened. It wasn't me. It was like somebody forced this situation that night, which was September 23rd of 2018. 1 year after the sign of September 23rd, 2017, the Revelation 12 sign. And I couldn't understand it, guys. And, hold on 1 second. So, anyways, so I had this. I know I'm probably all over the place, guys, so please forgive me. So anyways, this had happened, and I couldn't figure out what the heck, how this happened, why this happened, and I suffered for it. And but anyways, I got arrested September 23rd of 2018, and a few days later, we were going to court, and they had taken me, and given me my verdict or whatever, and they were riding me back to the prison, and we got in the car, in the state trooper's car, and I kid you not, this was 11:11 a.m. and a raindrop came through the roof and hit my hand. Came through the roof and hit my hand. And I said to myself, I said to the two state troopers that were in the front, look at this, how did this just happen? And I looked at the clock on the radio. It was 11:11 on the nose. Okay, so this was all strange, and this all led up to, this moment where, so I had this vision. I got gate 19. I go in on September 23rd in 2018. The whole court thing with the raindrop. And that following Christmas, I got saved 10/19 by a former Tennessee Titan, okay, a Titan, a giant, okay, saved me in this prison. And well, guys, so ever since then, I have been on this journey. And something that always stuck out to me was this Revelation 12 sign. Because it's the Star of Bethlehem, the Star of Sirius, the blue star. I started having strong visions, guys. I mean, very strong visions. Where these birds came down, and they told me that I was going to suffer for a while, but that things were going to get better, and, nobody believes you when you have this kind of stuff happen to you. So I'm just making it just to say that maybe somebody can relate to this. So anyways, yeah, so this all happened. So the following Christmas, when I was in prison, after I got saved by this Tennessee Titan, and let me tell you something, guys, the emotional pain that I was going through that whole time, and the regret that I did this to my mother, because it wasn't me, it wasn't who I am. So that Christmas I spent in prison, and a guy from Victory Church came in, and they were talking Christmas Day. It was just, sitting in there, and this guy brought in this thing about this paper, about the legend of the candy cane, and it talks about this candy cane thing, and one man found, a wish he could share the love of Jesus and the joy of Christmas with the world. When Christmas came around, the children didn't get to see nativity scenes or enjoy learning about the truth of Christmas. As a candy maker, this man prayed to find a way that he could offer local children a Christmas gift. And he prayed and led to the idea, the candy cane, the shepherd's staff. He chose to make the candy cane in the shape of a shepherd's staff. After all, Jesus is the shepherd. And to his followers, in the Bible notes that the sheep would hear his voice and follow him. The letter J for Jesus. Not only was the candy cane in the shape of a staff, but when it was held upside down, it formed a J. Now, keep this in mind. This formed upside down, and it forms a J. Because this is very important. It stood for Jesus, but it means something else to me. He is a rock. The candy maker chose hard candy for the candy cane, which was done to remind children that Jesus was our rock, dependable and strong. And by his stripes, wide red stripes were added to the candy cane, a representative of his crucifixion, and the blood Jesus shed for our sins. Red, his shed blood. Through his blood we were given salvation and life. And the white was purification from sin. There are also white stripes on the candy cane, which represents the holiness and purity of Jesus, who was sinless, and the sweet fragrance of Christ. Peppermint was the flavor of the candy maker. Chose the candy cane. Peppermint was very similar to hyssop, which was used for sacrifices and purification in the Old Testament, reminding us the sacrifice that Jesus made for us. It also reminds us of the spices brought by the wise men when they came to visit Jesus. Now see, these wise men, they knew Jesus because they knew the stars. They were master astronomers, and so they knew that this star was very important. It was the Star of Bethlehem, which signifies, beginnings, and the bright blue star, So, and it also says broken for us. Of course, was the candy. When the candy cane was eaten, it is often broken, which is the candy maker meant as a reminder that when Jesus was crucified, his body was broken. And the love of Christ, the candy cane was also made to be a gift representing the love of Jesus when he gave us the gift of salvation. So this candy cane, guys, and I'm going to talk about the Ark of the Covenant here, okay, and the Spirit of Destiny. Now, here's a little something I have to show you. This kids love 'em thing. Now you see that cloud right there? You see, and this ice cream cone that it's showing is it's significant of the same thing as like the candy cane. So why am I saying this, guys? I'm saying this because this candy cane, okay, this candy cane represents to me, this candy cane to me, it represents the Spirit of Destiny. And when I say the Spirit of Destiny, okay, this is what I mean by it. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Guys, so getting back to Jesus, who was Jesus? Jesus was the fisherman. He was the Pisces. He was the door, the way, the truth, the life. Now, Jesus being the way, the truth, and the life, okay, he's also the key to understand knowledge. And I'm going to bring Pastor Paul Bagley, who I love dearly, and I love the Bagley family so much, and, I just want to share a prayer cloth that, that he gave me, and, this prayer cloth is very important, guys, because you see this cross here. You see this cross here that the angels are praying to. That's Jesus. That's the candy cane. Okay, that's the sword. That's, you know, that's the spear of destiny. That's the key. That is the way you follow. That is, you know, that's the narrow gate. Okay, is what I want to say. The narrow gate. You see, you follow Yahweh. Okay, Jesus was the light of the world. Okay, this light, this great light right here, which is the Star of Bethlehem, the Star of Sirius, it is the light that brought about new beginnings. Okay, and this star, a lot of people think it was a UFO. You know, it was a UFO maybe, or something like that. I can't tell you for sure. But you see, when the angels pray up to the Father in heaven, okay, and this would also be significant of Jacob's ladder, you know, in the tree of life. You see, you walk this ladder and you follow this way up to the new land or the New Testament. You see, Jesus, he is in every single page of the book, okay, because it's all his story, guys. You see, it's his love story. You see, the reason why kids love that candy cane is because it's like little drops of love, I guess I want to say. Like, just little sparkles of light, okay, that shine down. And you see, when the angels, okay, pray and lift their heads up to God, you know, if you flip this over, though, I'm going to flip this over. Do you see what that is? Right there. That is the twins, the carnal and spiritual man. You see one man on this side and one man on that side, okay? And you see the key right here that goes up and splits it in the middle. You see, guys, the Y, or the I, or the two witnesses, okay, or the two thieves on the cross, okay, it's talking about two wolves or two spirits that live inside of us, and the battle between good and evil, or the carnal and spiritual man, or basically this is like the DNA of God. Now you see one man and one man here, okay? That's the temple, okay? The temple is your brain stem. Now how do I know this? I don't for sure, but I could tell you what I think of it, and I have good reason to believe this. So this, God writes his laws in us, okay? His DNA is in us. We are made in his image, okay? So his image, the eyes are the lamp of the body, which gives the body, which is flesh, made from the dust, which is nothing, it will deteriorate. The soul, it's in your brain. It's right here. It splits your right and left brain stem, the right or left dial. It's DNA. It's the DNA of God. Also, so like I said, when you actually flip that upside down, it's also like Solomon's temple. Okay, what was Solomon's temple? It was a computer chip, a lot of people think. But the thing about it was, the temple, we are the temple of God. We have the temple of God in us, because we were made in his image. You see, the temple was your brain. It was a chip. This is my opinion, okay? And it's just also significant of twins, okay? You see, the twin story in the Bible is throughout the whole Bible. You know, twins are so significant. You know, like the older serve the younger, the first and the last. But it's significant of man and beast. And it's significant of, you know, we were made from the dust of the earth, but we have the light of God in us as long as we live in Him, through Him, and by Him, and we do His will. So like I was saying, that's just a little bit about how I think of it, and I'll flip this back around, and you see, this also is like the tree of life. You see, because when we pray, we lift our hands up to God, and God sits in the heavens, and He hears, and He sees, and He knows everything. So when we hit our knees and we pray and we lift our eyes up to God and ask Him for things, He hears these things, He knows these things, because He feels these things, because He is everything. He's everything. You see, God is love. And what I'm getting at is the heart. I'm trying to get to the heart of the matter. Okay? If you ever think about a beating heart, how amazing and how special that is, it's unbelievable. You know, you cannot match it. You cannot figure it out. It's just the beauty of His creation. I say, Itzi Kriya. So that's what I say, because it's His Itzi Kriya. His Der Izzy. Have you ever seen The Fountain, the movie? It's one of the best movies ever made, okay? And it's about God. You see, the Father sends the Son to save the world, you know, for mankind. That is why Jesus had to come here, to save mankind, you know. And I could tell you right now, there will be a new heaven and a new earth. And all are welcome, and God will never, ever give up on His children. Just don't give up on yourself. You see, you got to give in order to get first. And you know, you have to know how to believe in something. When you have to see it to believe it, you know. But I have seen enough to know not only that God is real, that He's working through my life and through other people. I have no words to describe it. I have no words to describe it. But I want to talk about Yahweh. So, you know, the early Christian followers, they were the sect called the Way. You know, this was the straight and narrow path. This was Jacob's ladder. This was how you climbed the ladder into heaven. This is how you reach your third eye, your spiritual eye, your God eye, so to speak. You see, the pineal gland is the gland of milk and honey. I know a lot of people know this, but for those that don't know it, just that's where it's talking about. So when you think about the universe and the Milky Way galaxy, you see, they lie about space so much, and they show with planets and stuff. Really, you know, it's not how it is. It's not how it is. You see, the universe is inside of all of us, you know. So we can form it, create it, and make it whatever we choose it to be. That's where the power of prayer and faith in love and service to others, and that's where that all comes in at, guys. So I don't know if this if this is enough details or whatnot. I probably got sidetracked, and I probably probably completely sidetracked what I was trying to say. But this is just like a short, I guess, rough testimony of the 3 years of my life. But yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. God has been so gracious to me, and like I said, I have been I've been down, I've been up, I've been all around. But today I try to be a man of integrity, a man that can be trusted, a man that is humble. You see, humility is everything to me. Because I used to be very egotistical. I used to be very ignorant, very carnal-minded, so to speak. And see, that is I had to empty myself of stuff like that. And I struggle every day. I struggle so much every day. But I wanted to get back to the menorah also. You see, this menorah, the menorah is so special because it's, like the seven spirits, or the 7 eyes, or the 7 flames, or the 7 planets, you could say, with the sun being in the middle. You see the sun being in the middle, okay? And Jesus is the root. So like I was also saying, Jesus is the vine dresser. He's the root. Okay, so he was the tree that had to come down. You see, like that candy cane, it came down in the form of a man. You see, and it had to walk this earth and climb its way back up in heaven in order to save mankind. You see how that works? You see how that works? So he had to come down in order to be the savior of his people. So he had to go up as well. But see, he came down and he blessed us with he was the word that became flesh. And before this place, was just darkness. So the word had to come into the world. It had to give light to the world. And that is why I trust, everything, and know everything about Jesus is much more than just a story. It's part of us. He's in us. He's in everything. He's in everything. And it's just beautiful to recognize, guys. It's really beautiful to recognize. So like I was saying, the cross is also like the tree of life. Okay, it's like the tree of life. So Jesus is the root, okay? And he had to come down, bring that candy cane down, which would be like light, I would say. And it's what gave the soil, the dirt, okay, and the darkness light. So man was formed from the dust of the earth. It gave, the dust is the dirt. It gave the dirt, proper soil, I guess, in order to sprout the plant. So when Jesus came down, the plant or the tree flourished and blossomed, with the spread of the gospel and the spread of the good news and things like that. And the tree grew. So we're in a sense like trees. The Bible's like a tree. The beautiful tree of life. So that's why it's so important to me to never lose hope. Never lose hope, and